the necessity of preaching the cross. The necessity of preaching the cross. Brothers and sisters, it certainly would be most beneficial if any of these messages has been beneficial to you.
All right.
That you somehow, some way, let me know if they have. Amen.
Amen.
I know that they are, but it would be nice to let me know.
Amen.
If you find them beneficial and helpful.
All right.
In your spiritual walk.
All right.
Because this is a spiritual journey.
Amen.
Is that right?
Amen.
And we need as much strength as we possibly can have in a world of skepticism and doubt.
All right.
Is that right?
Amen.
So it certainly would be beneficial to our radio audience. We certainly invite you to write us, certainly to call us and let us know if these messages has been beneficial to your spiritual walk. Amen.
Amen.
Brothers and sisters, when we left part 2, we was discussing how awesome God is in his miraculous way of confounding and confusing those who are considered the elite and the scholars of our society.
All right.
How awesome God is to take the wisdom of humanity and confound it to the point that they cannot see or recognize the Christ.
All right.
As we begin this part 3, I want to be very brief because I am of the opinion that too much information is just as bad as not enough information.
All right.
And I am led to believe that on Sunday morning, particularly at the 7:45 a.m. hour, that we're actually given too much information. Too much information will not be retained, will not be recalled, it will not be memorized.
All right.
But it gets combined and combobulated with other information in which there is no understanding and no clarity.
All right.
That's why it's always good, brothers and sisters, that when we leave from the worship experience, that we seek to procure or get a copy of a CD where at our leisure we can play back.
All right. All right.
Because you never know in the course of your spiritual journey when you're going to need to hear that same message
again.
I wish I had.
Amen. Amen.
I wish I had a witness here.
Amen.
I said it once, I said it twice, I'll say it again. For every situation that we have encountered in humanity,
all right,
there is a message at Mount Moriah that has been preached.
Amen.
So when folks lose their grip, when they become uneasy, when they begin to freak out, when they begin to worry, when they begin to stay awake at night, it's because they do not recall the message that addressed their situation.
All right.
And there are some folks who often feels like that the preacher at Mount Moriah is always talking about them. Well, the truth of the matter is God addresses the issues of humanity.
All right. Amen.
That means talking about a certain person, or you feeling like it's talking about you. Maybe that's just what the Lord wanted.
All right.
Do I have a witness here?
Amen.
Because you already know from your own experience, I have not been in your house.
All right.
I do not look at your environment.
All right.
I have no way of knowing what goes on in your family, your environment, or your circle.
Amen.
Come on, talk to me, somebody.
Amen.
So in order for me to talk about you, I first have to know what's going on with you.
All right.
Is that right?
All right.
So if it seems as though we're talking about you, maybe that's just what the Lord.
Whoa. Amen.
Is that right?
Amen.
Amen. And so if these messages are being helpful to you, if they're being encouraging to you, even if they tick you off and make you mad.
All right.
Don't tell me that part. Amen. But it'd be nice to know.
All right.
Amen. So we can be more confident.
Amen.
That we're on the right track.
All right.
Is that right?
Amen.
When we talk about this in part 3, the necessity of preaching the cross, we remind you on today that the reason we address the topic of the necessity of preaching the cross is because there are many preachers who are laboring hard in the pulpit.
All right.
Who are sweating, who are preaching to the very best of their God-given ability.
Amen.
And yet nothing is happening, nothing is changing.
All right.
So I wanted to be clear and to clarify that not only must we preach, there's a certain topic that we must preach about.
All right.
Is that right?
Amen.
And that topic is the cross.
All right.
Now, brothers and sisters, coming off of Easter Sunday, all of us should be aware of the significance of the cross.
Amen.
Is that right?
Amen.
Because one songwriter said it was at the cross.
All right.
Where I first saw the light.
All right.
And the burden of my heart
rolled
away. Y'all heard him, didn't you?
Amen.
I said, y'all
Amen.
heard him, didn't you?
Amen.
He said it was there by faith. And I received my sight. And because I received my sight, now I am happy. And so the cross has great significance. Out on Calvary's cross, Jesus shedding his blood.
Amen.
For all.
Amen.
Of us.
All of us.
A songwriter must have felt it in his spirit because he said, were you there?
All right.
When they crucified my Lord?
All right.
Were you there when they nailed the nails in his hand?
All right.
And as he kept on reflecting and asking the question, he said, sometimes just thinking about it causes me to. Does somebody know?
All right.
Tremble. And so the cross has great significance. We shall not ever forget.
Amen. Amen.
The cross, the message of our Christ to the unsaved world.
All right.
Is that Jesus died.
Amen.
On Calvary's cross.
Amen.
The message that saves the unsaved is for God so loved the world that he gave his son. Amen. On the cross.
All right.
That whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And so not only must we preach, we must preach the cross. If we are to save lost soul, if we're to give people hope in a dying generation, if we're to help folk make it through their own trials and tribulation, we must preach the cross. The cross. In this part 3 of our sermon of the necessity of preaching the cross, part 1 brought us in by Paul reminding us that he was called to preach the cross.
Amen.
Not with eloquent words, because if you use eloquent words to preach about the cross, it will take from the essence of the message.
All right.
The old folks used to say it's so simple.
All right.
Yeah, I know it's just me that's old today. It's so simple that even a child.
All right.
Yeah, anybody ever heard that? I said, anybody ever heard that? It's so simple that a child can understand.
All right.
Is that right?
Amen.
And so Paul says, he didn't call me to baptize, he called me to preach the cross, to not use eloquent words, to not be a great orator. And then he goes on to say to us, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, because folks who use their human intellect cannot understand the significance nor the power